This is Feed Your Mind, and so I came across some information in the Bible that discusses if there's anything beyond the ice wall. Plus, the scripture confirms the firmament and explains how the earth is geocentric instead of heliocentric. And so the scripture is, a few scriptures actually, is Psalms 19:1 through 6. And Psalms 19:1 actually is referenced by the founder of NASA, Werner von Braun. It's on his tombstone. And it says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork." And then, so that scripture references the firmament. And it's talking about how when you look in the firmament, we can see the complex clock system, the handiwork of the Creator. But then when it goes into verses 4, it discusses the sun, and it's pretty interesting because after this scripture, it's interesting that there's any Christians out there that are heliocentric still, because the scripture goes on to say, "Their line is gone out throughout all the earth, and their words to the end of the world." Now, the end of the world, how do you have an end on a ball, right? Where's the end of a basketball? So what's this end of the world that this Bible is speaking of? Well, on a flat circle, you can have an end. It's the end, which would be Antarctica. And then the scripture goes on to say, "In them hath he set forth a tabernacle for the sun." And so this talks about a house for the sun, or a tabernacle for the sun. And that reminds me of the book of Enoch that talked about the suns coming and going from portals, as if there's possibly even multiple suns for each month. Or, there's different ways to interpret the book of Enoch when it's talking about the suns coming out of portals. But that's one way to interpret that. Either way, though, it's talking about a tabernacle for the sun, which is a bridegroom coming out of his chamber and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. And so it goes on to say in verse 6, "His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. And there is nothing hid from the heat thereof." And so this is pretty literal when we're reading this. It's definitely talking about the sun. I mean, because we see that as saying nothing is hid from the heat thereof. So that would suggest that there is nothing beyond the ice wall. If nothing is hid from the heat thereof, that means Antarctica becomes frozen, and after that, there's nothing. According to that scripture, if you're going to take this as a literal passage. And then what it says earlier in verse 6, Psalms 19, verse 6, it says, "His going is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it." So that's talking about how the sun goes in a circuit or a circle, So the sun is circling above us, not the earth revolving around the sun. So this is a verse that seems to be describing geocentrism versus heliocentrism. And also it seems to be describing a flat circle instead of a ball for the earth, because it's talking about how the sun is moving in a circle above, coming out of his tabernacle, and nothing is hid from its heat thereof. So with outer space, if people believed in outer space, nothing would be hidden beyond the heat of the sun. Either way, it's like you can't have your unlimited universe then, if beyond our sun, nothing is hidden from the heat thereof. But this verse definitely seems to be talking about a flat circle. So because it's talking about, like I said, the circle of the earth, so with nothing being hid from the heat, like I said, I mean, what do you all think this is saying? What do you take from the scripture? So maybe read it yourself and share it with your family And so once again, that verse is Psalms 19, verses 1-6. And analyze it. Let me know what you all think. I mean, is this a literal depiction of the earth that the scripture is talking about? And that means that, this whole thing about other lands beyond the ice wall would be, disqualified according to this scripture. But there's also other hypotheses that I discussed in other videos, like the dimensions and the portals, where the North Center could be like a portal, and different physical realities all dwelling within this one circle we've covered before, where, like the spiritual realm, and then there's realms above. So there'd be realms above and possibly below, circles. So, the Bible, well, I think it's apocryphal books more specifically speak of the 7 firmaments above. And there's talks about some, a circle beneath the earth as well, like Sheol and places like that. So, and then, like I said, with the invisible realm, or the other realms of dimension contained within the circle, but in a different frequency. So like we dwell in this physical realm, but there would be another realm that, like you turn a radio station to another signal and you hear that signal. So with this physical realm, if there's a different frequency of existence dwelling in the same circle, and we possibly all could share the same sun, the sun could be interdimensional. And there could be other, so there's other options is what I'm getting at. There's other options if you want to explore the idea of, other worlds. But I mean, like I said, read the scripture a few times. Let me know what you all think. What is this describing? Is this saying that there's no lands beyond Antarctica from the heat of the sun? Let me know what you all make of that scripture. That's about it for today. I'm gonna leave a link to my heliocentrism playlist, or I might leave a link to my geocentrism playlist, or maybe both. So check the description box in the comment section. I'm also going to leave links to my other channels, my social media, my free email newsletters, my Feed Your Mind store with a lot of cool stuff there, and much more. I'm also going to leave links if you'd like to support this channel to help me get much more documentary style videos out instead of just these podcast style videos. The documentary style videos have lots of visuals and they're well edited, very shareable. So those types of videos, if you can chip in like $1 monthly, that would be great. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support. All links are in the comment section and description box. Thanks for tuning in. Signing off.